Cox.
Yes, yes.
South Carolina.
I bet you she'll be singing a different tune when LeBron just brushes his tits on her face. It's just, we're at the, and by the way, here's the problem with it. We've talked about this with professors. The same thing happens in sports. If you aren't woke enough, you don't get to be a coach. And even if you're a really good coach and you make it, you better keep your mouth shut. Go to a local college. Go to a local high school. Someone who's coaching and is a volunteer. You'll probably get 9 out of 10. Worst case scenario, if you're in a really, really blue state, maybe you'll get 7 out of 10 if you're dealing with women's sports. People who will say, well, yeah, there's an obvious advantage and it's not fair. But when you get to the NCAA, when you get to the NBA, or maybe the WNBA, when you get to these higher, the Olympic, the IOC, where I don't even think you have to be transitioning for an entire year now with the Olympics. Someone can bring it up. I think you just have to show proof of some degree of hormone replacement to then compete in the women's division. When you get to these huge governing bodies, however, these people end up being installed. That woman does not share anything in common with people in your town who are coaching children, who are coaching sports. Yeah, Noodles.
Yeah. Research just wanted to point out that the break in time code there was a 40-second pause.
A 40-second pause?
Wow.
Well, she was distracted by her Beats by Dre, Hunter.
Well, it's what Nick says. You got headphones on.
Yeah.
And she came up, and her answer was, "Well, identify as a woman." So LeBron could say, you know, instead of hiring from the NBA, I'm going to do a couple years.
Dirk Nowitzki
in the WNBA, right?
Yes. Yeah. Should come back today, Dirk Nowitzki, and smoke the WNBA.
Seriously, that's what she came up with after how long?
40 seconds.
40.
You know, it'd be like great.
And what you said about them being appointed.
Yes.
That's the same in politics.
Exactly.
Nobody voted for the new fucking mayor of Chicago after
Right.
Lori Lightfoot stepped down.
Yeah.
This guy's a self-avowed communist or whatever.
Right.
Nobody, black or white, voted for that guy.
Right.
Same with all the attorneys generals.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, people, because when you read comments after an article, the people always go, well, the people in New York voted for it. That's what you get. I don't believe that. These people are appointed. Everybody in power is a black woman, almost.
Right. Yeah.
Or a black guy. People, very so-called racist people, back in the 80s predicted this in Florida. I talk about my buddies that wanted to cover at area meetings.
Yes.
And they predicted all this.
Yeah. He went undercover a lot.
He did.
One meeting is undercover. When you go for 9 years, you're a premium member.
Okay, he did have
He had an area.
He did have his own uniform.
Yes.
He wasn't honorary. No, he wasn't. He was a competent, then a lawyer. But I'm just saying, this was all predicted. Yeah. And I'm not agreeing with these Aryan race dudes back then, but I'm just saying they predicted how it would go down as far as every police commissioner being this color, and it's going down.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Is these people end up radicalizing more people. Oh, wait a second. Every time I tune into a film or for something I can't control, what happened to not blaming people, not condemning them for immutable characteristics? Yeah, what was the new Disney movie, Wish?
I watched it last night.
Yeah, it's not bad, but of course, the bad person is the white guy, right? They make him a narcissist, he's controlling, he's a king, and the hero is the black woman who has very few hits.
Everyone is bad in the movie is white.
Yeah.
Well, I call that on my first album, Born This Way, 1992, folks.
I remember you had a bit, to give you an idea, and this is why we said that Nick DiPaolo is the OG, you can go and watch his special month from it's sort of, I guess I should say, commemorative special, including what was done for you. I remember you had a bit. This is how dated it is. AOL Online, America Online. And it was the commercial was America Online. So simple. Even my dad needed it. He said, "Oh yeah, Dad, you mean the asshole who bought the fucking computer?" That's right. And it's just there's no fat on that. It's right to the point. So easy. It's always
and I was rewarded for making observations like that, being 25 years ahead of it. Being fucking, you know, doing 6 lines on Suddenly Susan on ABC.
Yeah, I watched till the end.
What would the guest starring role on Just Shoot Me?
I don't want it.
When people say this is not saying, oh, you know, it's just a small issue. No, over 800 women have lost podium places now in sports to biological men.
So
800, that's over like each one.
you were in the money at least. Made back your money.
Think about that. This was, it hasn't been that good. It's getting worse.
Yeah, Anna won.
but I kind of was looking forward to seeing a woman named Kathleen tight end 6'4", 270.
Yes, exactly.
Really a guy, and then some girl comes running biological. She's a weight. Just tries to tackle the guy in the open field. Paralyzes.
It's like just running into a stump.
Yeah, just crushes.
She runs into a man. It's like a friend of stuff.
Yeah, but I was so fucking tired.
There's been a protest this week together. Fans, every sport, just sport, streets, stand up for the Warriors. We're going to go to every single medal. Sorry, ladies, we're going to go to every single medal. And then maybe you have a chance, Warriors.
Or as Eddie Murphy calls it, the dream team. So, talk about dated. I was trying to think of a celebrity as a penchant for trans people. It's the only one I could come up
Hey,
with.
we're just giving her a ride.
Should have went with Audie Murphy.
So look, let's also go through, we've talked about this before. You can go back to trans males or biological males should not compete in women's sports. Changed my mind. We've done this quite a bit. There have been many, many records that have been set. So in 2022, Leah Thomas famously, of course, set the NCAA 200-yard freestyle record. 2023, Megan Cortez Field set a new record for the 100-yard butterfly stroke. 2024, Sadie Schreiner set the 200-meter and 300-meter records running for upstate New York College. We've had Canadian cyclists who have set records. There have been weightlifting records that have been beaten locally, but then they haven't gone on to international competition. Yet, this has been happening for a very long time. And you may be saying, yeah, but not all the records have been broken. Sure, that's the reverse nirvana fallacy, where you say, well, yeah, but it hasn't happened yet, so let's just try opening this to a free-for-all. So let's make an inference here. If 800 women now have lost podium spots, do you think if we simply erase the lines between biological males and females, if we erase it completely going forward, it's going to get better or worse? Make an inference. We also saw this in mixed martial arts, men beating the shit out of women.
Good throws and reversal.
These girls are getting right into it.
Girls.
Girls,
Hello, girls!
Eat her right in the balls.
That must have been like the 10th round, right? They probably had a fair fight up until about that point.
yes.
Okay.
Would the most attractive of you please step forward? The one who finds me most attractive, please step forward. Give a friend 100, bid in chicane in second. So,
Doing really well.
I thought I was doing well. You're a hooker? Now, I know what people are going to say. They're going to say, whoa, Fallon Fox eventually lost. I don't care. Fallon Fox was a crappy fighter who did it for basically a few months, decided to beat up women, and then competed against someone who had been training for a very long time. Sure, there are outliers. It can happen. It doesn't change the fact. We've talked about this many times. Look, the benefit, if you look at Arnold or you look at like Dorian Yates, or you look at any of these crazy bodybuilders who are just teeming with steroids, they do not enjoy the hormonal or biological advantage over us, non-steroid users, that a man does over a woman. It's not even close. They could take every single drug known to man, they could pickle their liver for the rest of their life, and they still would not even come close to scratching the kind of advantage that a biological man has over a woman. And especially if they go through puberty, that happens. It's set. Sure, you can undo some of it with hormone replacement therapy, and of course you can induce cancer. We know what estrogen does, excess estrogen does to the male body. It's not good. We know it. In some cases, you'll use it as a control. Do you know what they give women who have breast cancer? Women who have breast cancer, they immediately put them on aromatase inhibitors, estrogen blockers, because if estrogen gets out of control.
Hey, Gregory,
estrogen,
I'll be right back.
Excess estrogen is a problem for women. It is a really big problem for men. But we said, well, the science out. The science, we don't have the science yet. I have a reusable glass bottle because I fear BPA. Why? Because it mimic estrogen in the body. When placed as a pellet directly into my ass, however, well, the jury's still out. Let's do it with 6-year-olds. Here's a guy beating women in the WNBA.
Back from Minnesota at 2 a.m. in the morning. And then they had a practice. Nice pass inside. With their first dunk of the season.
Sorry. It's just Griner.
She runs just like Kareem did. Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
She does. Running up the court, she looked just like Kareem.
I can't wait till she gets smoked by that Caitlin Collins.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Oh, boy.
Caitlin Clark. I
Caitlin Clark, sorry.
wonder how long into the season that was, because she goes, first junk of the season.
Right up.
By the way, that's how every female broadcaster sounds.
It was just back from
Brittany Griner out of Shitter Court.
It was just back from Siberia, I think.
There are more men who have been in space than women who have dunked.
That's not true.
Women can't even dunk space.
I guarantee you it's true. There are more men
nobody got
who have been to space than women who have dunked in the WNBA. Some mission control.
That's
$10. $10 if you can
$10.
bring up the numbers.
I'll bet you $10.
Okay, I'll bet you $10. There
Yeah.
are more men who have been. I didn't say the moon, though. I actually would probably.
No, don't.
But men to space. No, there's more men to
Okay.
space.
Okay.
More men to space than the moon. There are more men who have been to space than women who have dunked in the WNBA. I guarantee it.
I don't know,
happens to be one
Steven.
of
I
them.
see it every night.
I think this is a win for Steven because it's only 7.
Only 7 women
Ever?
That's what it says.
in the WNBA.
They're not paid enough. For Christ's sake. Get out of here, man.
Buzz Aldrin could dunk behind his head, for Christ's sake. They couldn't dunk in space. Say it again. That was my
Right over the
favorite joke.
basket.
Let's send the 12 teams of the WNBA to the moon.
Yeah.
Let them play some matches.
3 of them could dunk.
So that conspiracy theorists can go after them. That's bullshit. It's being directed by Coppola, whatever they say.
Space Jam 3.
Yes.
Okay, so they're correcting me and saying 8, but
Oh, that
it
changes
was
things.
close because 547 men have been to space.
I owe you $10.
Only $10.
Oh, my God.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. And that's 547 men in the NBA have dunked this season already.
How many men have been to the moon? Now, if we
That's a different number.
it's a different number, but is it more than 8? Because I know we all.
The Russians?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't go to the.
No, who's landed? Who else? Has anybody
The
else
Indians.
touched
Well,
Yes.
they sent people or sent a ship?
24.
24 have been to the
More
moon.
men.
So more men. Correct me. More men have been to the moon.
on? Right.
12
Right.
And women have dunked to the WNBA.
That's right.
But there's no biological advantage to men.
I'm so tired
hope
of
we get-
arguing with the left about all this shit. Fucking and again, science, they throw it out the window now.
Yeah, I know.
You can just
Not when it comes to cicadas and global warming.
cicadas.
Yeah,
That's how we say it in Boston.
Yeah, don't you love how the other one's like cicada, like it's tomato? No.
Cicada.
There's a right way and there's a wrong way.
What are you, fucking retarded? Cicada.
It's hard to hear over her Jack Sparrow bracelet.
Yeah.
Just jingle jangling all around.
Johnny Depp and his cover band.
12 men have walked on the moon.
More men have walked on the moon than women have dunked in the WNBA.
There you go.
that a
That's a
Space
fact.
Jam.
That's science.
See, look, I
That's
hope
hilarious.
you guys may not know this, but I get very, very frustrated with fake news proliferating out there, both on the left and the right, because it's really hard to compete with a lie if you're competing with the truth. A good example of that is the recent segment that we did on the voter registrations, right, where they're saying 1.2 million in Texas with no voter ID. Well, no, that's not true. There is a problem with voter registrations, but the lie out there that's just used for clicks, well, no one's going to listen to a segment that's referenced properly with the truth. So I started very conservatively. And I said, more men have been to space than women have dunked in the NBA. We could now probably say more men have walked on the moon than women have dunked ever.
That's amazing.
That's a great.
Wait, what happened to Josh's mic?
Josh, did you hit the
He hit the
button? Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
They gotta lower that basket, man.
Yeah, they do.
I've been saying it for a long time, but they gotta lower that. They got a smaller ball
Me
already.
too. Spud
Why,
Webb
you
was
gotta-
5'5",
why, you
and he won a
watch
dunk
that shit?
contest.
No one's going to watch the women's
Put
sport.
it at their fucking waist level. I'm still.
Yeah, and make it full contact.
Yeah,
That would be
Yes.
fun.
absolutely.
Let them sort
I
it
always
out.
wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Somebody goes for a layup, you kick their feet out. Next thing you know, they're steering a wheelchair with their eyelids,
Yeah, well, then there's still the Paralympics. Which,
blowing into a straw to take a left.
A men's Paralympic team or a women's non-Paralympic team?
yeah. I'm open. Boom, shakalaka, laka, laka.
A fast break. Look at that transition game.
I
That's
always
right.
wonder with the Paralympics,
Yeah.
it seems, how do they pick, not Special Olympics, Paralympics? Like, how do they? I know that basketball, right? If you don't have legs, they don't work.
Yeah.
There's wheelchair basketball.
Yeah.
But what do you do with a guy who plays basketball who has one arm? It seems like, is your sport picked by your disability? Like, if you have no legs, it's basketball for you.
It's the same they use for paralegals, I think.
It's something. Paralegals.
Yeah, you gotta blow a guy in a back room, and
Yeah. You have no legs. It's swimming.
People who practice law and have no feeling from the waist.
I have no idea how do they pick the Paralympic events?
probably tryouts.
Yeah, but tryouts. My point is like the events are limited to one disability. Like there's wheelchair basketball.
Yeah.
I haven't seen armless basketball. I guarantee you some people play basketball with their feet.
I'm out of animals here.
Yeah, they do. Call it WNBA.
Now you want to know what I'll give credit to here.
What?
Dancers, like ballet dancers, both the men and some of the most athletic people I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
You watch the Russian opera ballet, it's unbelievable.
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's the NFL players, the receivers who actually study ballet, footwork and stuff, and most of them are faggots. But listen,
you ever see?
You got.
And by the way, while we're talking about Brittany Griner, don't forget we traded her for the Merchant of Death. So I just thought
He can dunk.
dunk.
So that makes sense.
What were we talking about right before that? We were
ballet.
Oh no! Have you seen Olympic gymnasts, the men, their biceps? And you know what?
Freakish, man.
Do a lot of pull-ups. You know what? Someone told me it comes from.
What?
It comes from not the Iron Cross, but that position where they hold themselves on the rings and their whole body. Basically an isometric curl this whole time. And they do it from when they're a kid. You add a couple pounds this month, you add another couple pounds. Imagine they're supporting their entire body like this. Your arm doesn't lock that way,
No,
right?
but it seems like there'll be a strain on the shoulder.
Well, yeah, they rupture tendons all the time, but it's the only sport where they have inhumanly large biceps. And a guy told me it's this. He said this is really hard to do because it's not like holding a bench locking out. There's no lockout. It's your bicep holding you up.
I always noticed that as a kid. I'd look at the gymnast and go, what is the dude's he's doing? Look at his pipes.
I know. They have legs like a jockey, but they don't need them.
They don't need them. Exactly.
They just need them to land. And all I know about gymnastics when I watch it,
to dismount.
yes, all I know is that's a perfect score, and this is minus 3 points.
That's right.
That's
like when I jump off my wife, take a step back, minus 11.
Crowd goes wild.
They always lose a point if they don't show their butt.
That's true.
Lose a point.
And all I know with diving is I just go by the splash.
That's
the only
true.
thing I do. I go, there's a they're not going to win.
That's right.
That guy, no splash, champion.
You got to go in like you dropped a turret.
Yes,
Straight in, no splash.
Or just go in like Greg Louganis and just fill the pool with AIDS.
Yeah. That was tremendous. Good thing they had chlorine in. He did. It was a Freddie Mercury taking a dump.
What an asshole. What an asshole.
Spills his AIDS blood into the pool.
Spills his AIDS blood into the pool. And he acted like the victim. He'd be like, look, we get that you're gay and you're persecuted, but you did split open your head and spill AIDS blood into the pool.
They had to have the pool like Caddyshack when they found the kid.
Like a Babe Ruth bar.
Duty.
And Noodles just passed me a note that we got from research. I guess Caitlin Clark's game, the finals game, it was last night or the night before, it garnered 18.75 million viewers.
Yeah.
NBA finals last year, 11 million.
11.
That's right. They mentioned that.
11 million more viewers. Well, this is her last year. I think she's preparing for the draft. So.
You're right. Sport, and she deserves to make money if she puts butts in seats.
I know, but my brother sent me the clip. He has the same politics as us. Yeah. He's smarter than me. He sent me a clip of some guy like an ESPN, some left-wing jerk-off going, she did it. Now women's basketball, college women's basketball is going to take off. We are where we needed to be. No. She just left. It's like Trump when when he was president, CNN's ratings went through the roof. Right. And when he wasn't, back. This guy thinks that she transformed. It's going to be women's ratings for women's basketball.
Right.
So
it was like women's MMA when Ronda Rousey was new and she was dominating everything.
Oh!
She was like, okay, it's a couple angry lesbians punching each other.
Yes.
They're gonna have to.
If I want to see that, I'll fucking pay for it. Wait a minute, I was paying for it.
We're gonna have to have her come back and sing the national anthem before the game or something. Some viewers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are 12 teams, right, in the WNBA? 12 teams total.
I don't know. I think they're expanding though. Because both leagues are expanding, NBA and WNBA.
It's a good idea to water down something that's already shit.
Yes, exactly. That's what you do. So it needs more teams. We have 300 people in attendance. Let's add venues.
Let's have one person, all 300 games.
It's like a comic who can't sell out the show, so he's like, let me add a late show.
Stop talking about me, Steve. They call me One Show Firestein. That's what.
Yes, they do.
By the way, one show in Syracuse this Friday.
That's
no late show. I can't sell, but
this Friday, the 12th.
Yeah,
Syracuse.
Careful. That seems a long way.
Careful, Syracuse. You would not suspect that they're as radical as they are. I know you have a university there, but Syracuse. I had some close calls.
Come on out. Pay the full price. I'll fight you in the parking lot.
The Sweet Life of Josh and Josh.
Perfect.
That's creepy, considering,
It was creepy, wasn't it?
considering the Nickelodeon, the children's programming documentary on right now.
Yeah, I saw it. I watched it.
Those two are going to get raped, but it's you.
Yeah, by Drake. Crazy.
What am I missing?
Oh, it's a whole thing. All right, let's take some chat. Sorry, let's take some chat because I assumed someone was ready.
Nope. We were talking about another soundbite. Anyway, so a question for Crowder and the crew from 11B, follow me. What is your strongest dad joke? And thank you, Nick and Josh, for your comedic service.
So I'm getting lumped in with Josh. Fuck this. Anyway.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Stuck dad joke. What's a good dad joke? I mean, people just say that. That's another way to mock dad. Dad means like, like a joke that's like a pun kind of. People say dad jokes like.
Oh, yeah.
I call it like little lines I give to like people on a regular day basis.
Yes. Can you think of best dad joke?
No, they just come to me at the moment, and then I hate myself after I say that.
I go.
Okay, go ahead.
She was walking to a bar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No? Oh, I thought I was going to go the direct, like Manischewitz or something. I had a whole map laid out in my head. I've told this joke before, but Norm but you would say dad jokes. These were just, and him and Bob Einstein used to, they used to lift from each other, but it was kind of well known. Like the moth joke, Bob Einstein on the radio show first. And I've heard Norm tell this joke. Gook. I know I've told it on air, but it's my favorite, I guess, dad joke where I have to tell it to Bob Einstein. You've probably heard this, and I apologize if you're hearing it again, but he says, so two co-workers go to a bar after they're done working, and they drink too much, and the one man, he gets drunk, he throws up all over himself. He says, oh my God, this is terrible. His friend says, why are you freaking out like this? He says, my wife anymore. She'll see that I've been drinking. She'll kill me. He says, don't worry about it. Here's what I'll do. You tell your wife that you came to the bar. We only had 2 drinks, but a guy walking by had too much to drink. He threw up on your jacket. And here, just to prove it, here's $20 I'll put in your pocket. He offered to pay for your dry cleaning. He says, that's brilliant. Goes home. Sweetheart, I'm home. She comes down. She's furious. You've been drinking. He says, sweetheart, I only had 2 drinks, but a man there had too much to drink, and he up all over me. And here, to show you, he felt so bad, he gave me $20 in my pocket to help with my dry cleaning. She said, there's $40 in this pocket. He said, I know. He also shit in my pants. All right,
I know. So when my kid has a boo-boo, like, oh, I heard this.
You don't have to get the hedge clippers and then not commit to it.
My dad would do that when I said my pee-pee hurt.
Yes.
Anytime I see a ladder, my step ladder, I never knew my real ladder.
Oh, well, they don't understand that.
Wonder why you're single and jerking off into a cup. Are you stealing my sound drops from my shitty shit?
For the crew, how do you feel about the left using phrases for mental disorder and disabilities and making them normal for the far left, such as safe space?
I think it's to start using language the way it was meant to be used.
The N-word is a trigger for me. I've ever been to a Red Lobster on a Thursday night.
I thought because you're Sicilian.
It was going to come right after the first analogy you gave, but you put too much space.
I'm sorry.
No, it was beautiful.
I ruined it.
I learned a lot today watching the show.
Red Lobster, it's the only thing they do, and they do it so poorly.
I know, they should call it Red Scorpion. About fucking an ounce. The lobster's like an ounce. I've never seen skinnier fucking sick lobster.
I've never seen shrimp
I've
smaller.
had crabs bigger in college.
Zebra mussels. It's zebra mussel season at Red Lobster.
I don't know what they have besides Cheddar Bay biscuits. I don't get much further.
Fill up on the biscuits. Fill up on the biscuits. Red Lobster. Ugh.
There's a lot of Escalades in a parking lot on Thursday.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
Escalades and
When Scampi season opens up, the purple suit store just clears out. Grab
a couple of Chrysler 300s mixed in the mix.
Yes, exactly.
A shitload of fucking menthol cigarettes in the parking lot.
Not all these cool filters.
Yeah.
Let's grab a
Amish.
Yeah, we play for fun, Greg.
Regarding Stevie,
Sorry.
What would you say to many of the libertarians on the right who oppose trade protectionist policies intended to fight back against market manipulation by socialist countries?
Hold on a second. Let me read this letter.
Great light question.
What would you say to many of the libertarians on the right who oppose trade protectionist policies? Okay, intended to fight back against market manipulation. Okay, this is similar to the TikTok debate. I understand, and by the way, I agree in principle. I agree in principle. The problem is that's not the world that we live in. We don't live in a world where China engages in fair trade. We don't live in a world where, frankly, Mexico engages in fair trade. You look at NAFTA, you look at TPP. These are agreements in place that not only in theory disadvantage America, but in practice have very clearly disadvantaged Americans. Now it's exacerbated by the socialists and communists abroad not engaging in fair trade, is exacerbated by the socialists and communists here domestically, who have to give their kickbacks to the unions. And so we can't compete, for example, with a lot of American auto manufacturing. Obviously you can just look to what's happening in the airline industry right now. They're beholden to these unions. And when they say American manufacturing, a lot of them mean, hey, let's give a big contract to the unions.
Yeah, let's go fucking 10 under the speed limit for no reason.
Obviously put us on, for some reason, even footing with communist and socialist countries where they have gross abuses of human rights. And then we're trying to compete with them, where they basically have slave labor with artificially inflated wages and benefits because of American unions. There's no way that can end up other than the total nationalization of industry. So if China wasn't putting tariffs on, if China actually happened to be a free market economy and they were paying people a fair wage, and by that I mean actually able to live, and if they weren't stealing from their own people, and if they were allowing American goods and services to flow freely, that would be very different. That's not the world.
Louder with Crowder.
You can't have it be right now. We have a one-way street.
Mud Club.
That's the problem.
I use this analogy. It's kind of a simple form, but it's two hockey teams playing or two football.
It's Nick DiPaolo talking now.
The other doesn't.
Right. Exactly.
It's gonna be a blow up.
Well, I mean, you see that, for example, you see it with shops closing up in record numbers and leaving places like San Francisco, right? Because, the criminals don't have to play by the rules. They can steal up to $999,
right.
But the shopkeeper, you have to play by. Oh, hey, hold on a second. Oh, you're a squatter? Well, you don't have to play by the rules.
Right.
Don't worry, they still have to make the payments. Oh, you're a renter? Rent forgiveness. Mortgage, you're going to be hauled out in cuffs. You lose your house, foreclosure. It always favors the people who are willing to break the law.
It's all intentional, folks.
Yes.
This all doesn't happen by accident. You're in the middle of a cultural revolution and you don't even realize.
How do they line up? Think about it. How do they always line up accidentally with the non-contributors? Thieves? Okay.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
underprivileged. How do they line up with the squatters? How do they line up with the renters? And never the small business owner? Never the home provider? Never the business, the person who owns the shop that's getting ripped off? Never the citizens of when you have catch and release and no cash bail? Accidentally, you would think they could line up once with the law-abiding citizens, but they want to turn criminals into voters and you into a criminal.
No, they're all oppressors. That's
yes.
As my
you own a home.
late great friend said. What the hell is that?
It's just, we have an expensive teacher.
That's my friend Thomas. Yes.
Things don't go wrong this perfectly.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. You couldn't design it more effectively if you wanted to weaken American industry.
It's a cultural I think
We can't hear you. You're not talking into the microphone. You're talking into
It's in my goddamn touch of my balls.
It's the side of it.
Huh?
The side of it.
Yes.
Oh, gee. Oh, excuse fucking me. Hello. Best.
That doesn't work.
Oh, you said the side. Hi, how are you?
How can you be mad at the microphone? Nice phallic shaped microphone.
The question, sorry.
That doesn't matter. Hey, look, that person on CNN is dead. That is an open casket.
Come on, that's Steven
That's an
Tyler.
open casket funeral corpse.
Wait, on what side?
On CNN, on the right side.
It's Steven Tyler and Colonel Sanders.
Just answers every question.
Fucking Wolf Blitzer looked like that in high school. This guy hasn't changed. He is creepy, man.
You know why? He's so stupid that he's just never stressed.
He doesn't blink, dude. Watch it.
No, you're right.
He doesn't
You're right.
blink.
That is a corpse. You ever been to an open casket funeral? That's what it looks like.
What are you talking about? I'd hit that, bro.
Well, yeah.
Right in the side of the head with a brick.
Well, you wouldn't be able to identify her was the side.
Now, who's that pig in stripes?
Her child was the Michigan school shooter that killed 4 or 5 kids.
And they're putting her and her husband in jail, and good for them.
Yep.
Is that that's the actual prison uniform? I thought they had an orange jumpsuit.
The father had an orange.
Either that or she's been to Old Navy. I don't know.
The father had the old one. She's got the old oh brother, where art thou?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Look at Linda Blair next to her. Shit, from The Exorcist.
I think she's cute, man.
Who is that?
I haven't seen horizontal stripes in a prison suit.
I know. Three Stooges.
That's Cool Hand Luke. Even that's
Three Stooges.
They're doing this because they know horizontal stripes is an unflattering look for that woman. That is to add insult to injury.
And I can see Chuck Holmgren. And I can see why the kid was trans by looking at her. Not exactly.
No,
Piece of ass.
no. You expect her to be like sneaking around the corner with like a spotlight.
I think that they usually do use the jumpsuit, but they're all out.
That might could be her husband sitting to her right.
That's the Hamburglar right there.
It's more of a waddle suit. She just stands up, a bunch of burgers fall out. All right, let's go final chat.
All right, final chat. Scottish Ranger 1, question for the lads. If a transgender league was set up for all sports, how long would it be before it's scrapped?
I mean, the same amount of time they scrap those penises.
I bet you it would do really well.
Of course it
like
would.
the first
I would
two,
watch
for the
that.
first 2 weeks,
I would watch it.
and then the novelty wears off. You're like, all right.
Yeah, lingerie football.
Well, the beauty of it, they try to start the league and they go, we don't have enough transgender people. Yeah, that's what we've been telling you. Yeah, we've been talking about it for the last fucking 10 years, like you are 80% of the world population.
And the problem is they wouldn't be able to get most of the trans people to compete in their league. Why? Because many of them are mentally weak. They're like, wait, I got to compete against other biological males?
That's right.
They want to
Equal
compete
to
against
men.
women. They're like, this is bullshit. I used to just go against girls.
This is bullshit. I was setting records and now I'm just in the middle of the road. Yeah, I hope you enjoy your oppression, patriarchy. Well, I hope you enjoy not beating the shit out of women anymore.
I kind of like that part of it, I can be honest.
Well, look, Fallon Fox, the point is, some of them are gems.
I found out it was 39 seconds into that fight.
Oh, that he broke her orbital.
Yeah.
He broke her orbital.
Less than 40 seconds. That's crazy.
Well, there was a guy, Superfoot Wallace.
Oh, yeah, Bill Superfoot Wallace?
Back in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
They put him in a ring with some chick from Oklahoma. She was like a housewife who was supposedly good at karate. Remember this?
Yes.
On Why World of Sports?
Yes.
This is what is it, 50-something years ago?
And like he didn't get the memo that he wasn't supposed to head kick her.
She comes running out. He drops her like a used rock. Fucking, they put her back in her seat. And she's about. They're like, we spent tons on promotion. Get her back out there.
Do you think they have a clip? Do you think they must have a clip?
I think I looked it up, but it wasn't Superfoot Wallace. It was some Hispanic guy knocking out a woman back in the 70s.
Oh, it might have been.
Yeah.
It might have been. There was a guy. They called him Betty the Jet too. There was a kickboxer. I know it wasn't the
Betty the Jet.
But they called him Betty the Jet. There was a kickboxer too who did that.
I don't know.
And then there was
It's Superfoot Wallace. Yeah.
Oh, he was at the first UFC. Remember UFC 1?
Superfoot.
Yeah, he was a commentator in the very first line. He messed up. They say, I think it was him, Brian Kilmer was
oh my God,
Jim Brown, and he was there, and they said, here at the UFC, and they go to Bill Superfoot Wallace. So, yeah, Van Hibben. And then he stops, and they pick up.
What, he panicked?
Yeah. But yeah, they did that. And then he makes a face. He realizes this is going poorly.
I did that at Letterman.
Yeah, anytime they've done men versus women, it's not gone very well.
Oh, depending on how you look at it. If you're an abuser, you're like, no, it's brutal. And that was 50-something years ago. That sort of, and it hasn't progressed anymore. Like, the point was made then, and it's still the same.
It's just, but we're at this point, like, we can joke about it, we can laugh, they'll be more offended and joke about it. And the fact that they're actually in an environment where that's what they want to be legally permissible.
I always said feminists, they were always pushing back. We can do anything men can do, but they always left a little bit of room when it came to the physicality part. But then a few years ago, they stepped over that. See it manifest itself in there'd be a fight in the stands at a sporting event. Women jump in now. I was on stage in New York City at a comedy club once. Fight breaks out between two tables, and women get up and start throwing haymakers. And I saw the doorman was Lisa Lampanelli's husband ran across and gave this woman every chance she could. She's thrown it.
Dropped her.
Oh my God!
But a certain point,
but they still do. You notice now if you watch sports, they're in the middle of the brawls and shit.
Yeah, I know. They
bought it. They've been brainwashed. I can do anything.
Well, they bought it, and they also know that there's less accountability. That the likelihood of them being hit, at least at one point in time, was far lower. So you'll see them teeing off on guys, and I don't think it's for hitting women, but I certainly believe.
I got croaked.
That's right.
I have a whole different. I didn't raise my hand to that one. God forbid somebody. I don't care if it's a retarded girl in a wheelchair.
Right. Yeah.
Well, she's still bang her. All right. What? Come on, folks. The fuck was a joke.
No, it is true though. Like this is I've always said a problem.
So this should be interesting because I'm here to file a lawsuit against you, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And just so you guys know, right now I'm working as a custodian of the court, I guess would be the proper way to say it, because I'm serving a federal civil rights lawsuit, summons and exhibit.
What do you mean?
911 dispatch, how can I help you?
Hello.
How are you, Doc?
I'm okay.
Cool, man. Well, I was calling with two things. Number one, were you able to set up that outlet for that lady Joyce at some point?
Oh shit! I completely fucking got sidetracked. I will do it as soon as I get to the office. I should be there in about a half hour.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's she works Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. As long as it's good to go for tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Don't stress yourself.
Yeah, we'll knock it out.
Okay, cool. And then the second piece was I'm purchasing a computer for today.
Okay.
I'm gonna run over to Best Buy or whatever. So I know you've historically come and done your fancy secret stuff on it before. Would there be a time you'd want to? You be able to?
I'd come out there Friday.
Okay. All right.
Already?
Yeah,
all right.
Do that. Yeah. Historically, you get one of these Lenovo's we use, or the which ones do you like the most?
As long as it's not a Chromebook, I honestly don't care.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, just make sure it's a Windows operating system. I mean.
Got it.
All right.
All right, man. Yep. Got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Bye.
My whole family's dead. It was dead.
Who did it?
I don't know who did it.
Are you okay? Are you hurt?
He's still in the house. My two kids are slaughtered. My wife is
No,
slaughtered.
is he close to where your kids are?
They're dead. They're dead.
Oh, they're all dead. Well, that's okay.
Call the cops because I hear him near me. I hear him near me.
Okay, well then you should quiet down a little bit, huh?
So why should we hire you? What? Because you guys are hiring. That is not an acceptable answer. You know what? Why should I accept this position? What? Yeah, why is this position open? Do people keep quitting? Why are people quitting this job? Is there something I should know? Okay, well, thank you for your time. I'll see you on Monday.
I don't know how that ended up just started to play. I must have accidentally hit something in my notifications. It's still funny as fuck though.
For progress's sake, this is where you end up. So you have feminism. We want equal rights to men, meaning we want the right to choose. The right to choose.
Ah, it's over. And it's over. Pepperonis are spicy. Spicy pepperoni. Gilbert. Holes tight. What does that mean?
It's a beautiful Tuesday, my friends. And look what we see. Starting us off on the day, of course, is Tanya. It's a beautiful Taco Tuesday, Tanya. Saying happy Taco Tuesday, all. Pork chops on the grill, fried potatoes, sweet peas, and black cherry cupcakes on the menu in the Tanya Kara's Taco Tuesday household, and for all of us to indulge in and enjoy. Thank you very much for that one, Tanya. It's a beautiful Taco Tuesday, my friends. The week is unfolding ahead of us. Let's take a look at what is cooking out there all across the fruity plain of the internet and America. We got the presidential schedule. And I got some clips of him, man. He was meandering about yesterday. Let's see where he started off yesterday. So look at this. A lot of activity yesterday for the president. Did we look at the schedule yesterday? We kind of jumped into something else. But he got the daily brief. Then he went to Philadelphia, got there in Pennsylvania. We have a gaggle from Kareem, got that coming up. Then he delivered some remarks on lowering costs for Americans, and he was in Madison, Wisconsin yesterday. So he went over to Wisconsin, bounced over to Chicago, then was at Soldier Field, participating in a campaign reception with some other people at the Drake in Chicago. Soldier Field, look at this, a lot of stuff from him. Back at the White House, 10 o'clock yesterday. So that's a full day. And they kind of pack like one full day a week in for him. He kind of slows down now, you'll notice. Like the rest of the week will be done, right? One busy day and then he's done. The president receives the daily brief today. Then he delivers remarks on the care economy, whatever that is. And then Kareem and Jake Sullivan, whoa, from Oxford. John Kirby's taking the day off. They're bringing out the big guns from Oxford. So the president, the first lady, then welcome the prime minister of Japan over to the White House. So they'll be doing that in the South Portico. So the president can show another world leader how incompetent he is. That'll be fun. But I do have some segments and stuff pulled up from what he was up to yesterday. You can see he almost tripped again walking up the stairs, man. It's going to be any day now. He's just going to be hitting it again. RNC Research pulled this one up. Here's the short stairs. A little difficulty on those. Let's see what we're cooking. That's the president having a difficult time over there. And so hopefully that doesn't continue on. Now here was another situation. I think he was doing loops. He was in Wisconsin, as you can see, trying to figure out where the heck he's supposed to be going now. Okay, all right, so the band's like, we're supposed to be done with the song. Just play it again. Hit the loop again. Hit the loop again. Just keep replaying it, round and around we go. And we got some other clips from actual people in his administration. We know that right now, you saw at the thumbnail and the title of the show that we've got the polls are closing a little bit, polls are tightening up a bit. And it's kind of coming from both angles on this puppy. So when we take a look at following like Real Clear Politics and some of the election polls, and things are tightening big time right now. And I'm not sure what this is attributable to. Maybe you'll have some insight on this that we'll jump into here in a minute. But look at this one, right? So on election betting odds, when we were normally checking this out, Trump was up by like 10 points. Okay, so this closed very quickly. And I don't know exactly what you might attribute that to. Some changes in his Gaza position. I mean, that's the hard pivot that we've seen from Biden. He's being a little bit more, I'd say, aggressive with Israel. But would that account for like a 10-point swing? This was much further apart, like a month ago, like 10 points almost. And this is the accumulation, the aggregation of a bunch of different betting odd websites. So these are not polls. It's Predicted, Betfair, S Markets, Poly Markets, some of these other things. So that's tightening up. You've got the GOP VP nominee, so they're saying Tim Scott's going to be the guy. He's up at 20%. Christine Noem's number 2, Stefanik, Elise Stefanik, number 3, Carson 4, Vance 5, Nikki Haley still in the running. So we know Vivek, I think, is not going to be it. So this is where people are betting, right? This is not so much polls, but this is where people are betting. Actually, people are trying to wager on this to see if they can make some money on it. So that's what that says. Real Clear Politics has it even tighter. So here's the average. Trump is up 0.3. And this last poll from INI and TIP had Biden up 3. Right, so things are getting tighter. And we would be expecting that. You know, last week we had a bunch of good poll drops that were all talking about the swing states and how Trump was up, I think, in 5 of the 6. Could this be abortion stuff causing the swing, right? The Democrats have launched a new message on abortion. And, you know, let me just pull this clip up as well. This came over from the Midas Touch crew, and I'll watch them from time to time to see what they're talking about, what they're saying, because they have, you know, unique positions in their delusions. But this was curious. Okay, so this is an exchange between Midas Touch. This is like a major lefty conglomerate, right? They produce a ton of content, effective on the left. So I keep my tabs on him. And this guy, who is this guy? Forget his name. Rosenberg. All right, so he's a Democrat operative. And I want to explain, or wanted to share this with you so we can talk about the political structures that are behind the issues, right? Like we see issues that are coming out, like what's abortion and immigration and Ukraine and Israel, Gaza, like all these issues. But as the issues move, there are phenomena that happen in people's minds, right? Like it's the, you hear like the Overton window shifting and these ideas that there's a range of acceptable issues that you can talk about that will dynamically adjust based on what's happening in the politique of the Republic. And so this is an exchange where he's talking about how there are permission structures, as they call them, that are changing right now. Is this what is causing the bullshit?
Stopped in the intersection.
In this election, if in the final 2 weeks, Romney and Liz Cheney and Adam Kissinger, Bill Kristol, and all these folks are openly campaigning with Joe Biden, the permission structure that will give for Republicans to abandon Trump will be extraordinary.
That's interesting. So it just needs one to really start the exodus, and then others will follow.
But it's already happened. Right? I mean, that's the point. Is this is now a reality, and that Mitt Romney has said he's not supporting Donald Trump. Liz Cheney already campaigned against him in the last election in ways that were consequential to the election. Right? So the terminology we use when we talk about tactics, right, is permission structures that get created in politics. The permission structure for Republicans to not vote Republican is going to, in this election, is going to dwarf the permission structure that existed in 2020 and 2022. You know, imagine what happens.
Yeah, so it's going to dwarf what happened previously. So I think a lot of that's already baked in. For example, Mitt Romney's already baked in. Henry Kissinger, I think, is who they call Kinzinger, crying Kinzinger. So he's already baked in, right? The J6 stuff, I think, is already accounted for because we've already had 7 or 8 different ridiculous narratives from Liz Cheney and shift all of them. So is that cause new energy, new momentum that is not already baked into the pie? I'm not so sure about it. I think if you see some other people who come out that might be big names that would be adverse to Trump, like if there's a surprising name, you know, Mike Pence might be a big one. Like if Mike Pence gets very vocal, you know, that might be a little bit of a problem. He seems like the number 2 for a long time and very loyal. He's been getting louder and louder, talking about J6 and some other things. But you know, if you brought out all the Bushes and Karl Rhodes, if you brought out like the entire Republican Party other than, you know, could that have some impact? Probably. I'd say probably. Right? It would give some people maybe permission to go vote for RFK. And that might be, you know, where the RFK ramifications come into play because people start looking at him and they say, you know, I'm just so sick of everybody. Joe Biden's a disaster, and Trump, he's been convicted of felonies, so I'm just going to go vote RFK. Right? That might peel some people back from the Trump camp. things, but right, this is how they're thinking about it. They're trying to give people excuses to just not. They have to diminish the enthusiasm for the Republicans, and they're very smart. They've been working on this stuff for years now, right? When Trump won in 2016, they had 4 years to just get a head start on planning this, and they got it in place for 2020, and they've been, I think, still working behind the scenes. Like, they're not resting on their laurels because they know Joe Biden is basically a placeholder, right? He's a temporary fix until they can keep Trump off the field. But they can just keep Trump off the field for a day. Okay, he'll expire, he'll age out, and it'll be the end of that. I think is what their plan is. But that is, we'll see if that works for them or not. But it's an interesting dynamic, right? This permission structure conversation to enable people to just do something differently. So, all right, now that is what was happening over with Joe. Now, Joe is having some problems too, right? So some of the polls are tightening. We don't really know why that is. Is it abortion stuff? Is it lawful against Trump? Is it the shift on the Palestinian issue? Are these just polls that were always going to tighten as the election nears and people are paying more and more attention? Or are these just push polls? Are these just fake polls that really we shouldn't be taking any credence about at all? But here's another one, right? So here's the opposite side of this thing. So they're very nervous that Joe Biden is not doing so hot with the youth. The youths of America are starting to say, wait a minute, this environment is kind of garbage. I can work all this time and I still can't save $1 because my cost of living goes up every single month and compounds every year. Inflation is a compounding problem. So they start to realize that. They say, this is not ideal. So Biden's going to come back out and just pay him off. Just bribe him. Just say, hey, here's some free money from the government and vote Joe.
In the 2020 NBC News exit poll, candidate Biden led former President Trump by 24 percentage points among voters under 30. But an NBC survey in January had President Biden up by just 8 percentage points among that group. Another poll last month showed Mr. Trump ahead by 18 points among voters under 30. In the 2020 NBC News exit poll, candidate Biden led former President Trump by 24 percentage points.
So they're nervous, right? So that is shifting dramatically. And they're losing that, young, cool vibe. Obama brought in that young, cool vibe. Hey man, we're hip. It's cool to be a Democrat. It's cool to be a lefty, and all that. Now the left is like, I think, the party of criminality and being broke, relying on government handouts, and chopping genitals off. It's like, what? Does the youth of America want to indulge in that? That feels strange. So here is what Biden is going to do. And we mentioned this, I think, previously, but here's some more details on this. So Biden's new student loan relief plan, right? He's already done this before. We've already talked about it with SCOTUS and how he has been overruled on SCOTUS, but then just kind of slaps SCOTUS in the face and says here, the Biden administration on Monday, they announced a new sweeping student loan forgiveness plan, relief for 30 million borrowers. Now, the plan is the latest attempt to cancel student debt after the Supreme Court blocked last year. Now, since then, they found ways to circumvent the needs for congressional approval. Under the new plan, they're going to cancel up to $20,000 of a borrower's interest, regardless of income. Just a blanket check. Here you go, youth. In addition, low and middle income, so it's not means tested or anything, low and middle income borrowers, single people making less than $120,000 or couples making less than $240,000 enrolled in income-driven repayment would have all of their interest regiven. Wow, that's wow. All of their interest forgiven. Incredible. No application will be required to receive the relief. The plan is implemented as proposed. The Biden administration estimates it will fully eliminate interest on 23 million borrowers' unpaid balances. It's crazy, man. The plan would also wipe out the full amount of debt owed by 4 million Americans and give partial relief to at least 5,000 to more than 2 million additional borrowers. Just unilaterally, without any congressional approval, in violation of the tone that the Supreme Court set. Right? It's a different rule. It's not exactly the same legal issue, but it's wow. It's like the executive doesn't have the power to do this. You have to go to Congress to do it. They said, well, we'll see about that. crazy. The Education Department has been working on a proposal to replace the one that the Supreme Court nuked last year. Under the new plan, 4 sets of borrowers are automatically eligible for relief. Borrowers who have seen their balances grow beyond what they originally borrowed, which is probably most people, because of interest. And they say, you might have a sneeze coming up. Oh gosh, I can feel it. Don't do it. We're in the middle of a live stream. Don't. Go away. Those who took out loans that are in the repayment for over 20 years are also on the list. Borrowers who are eligible for relief but haven't applied. And those whose college or program didn't deliver sufficient financial value. So, it's wild that they're lawless in how they do all of this. Now, you might say that there is some benefits to fixing the student loan problem, or have an opinion on that. Like maybe we should spend $60 billion on Americans rather than on Ukraine, for example, which I think has some argument to it. But the point is, there is a mechanism by which you do this, and it's through legislation. And Congress can decide what to do because they control the budget and power of the purse. This is all just tyrannical behavior via student loan to buy off voters. It's like the corrupt thing you can do, and he's using the federal government to do it. That's not even commenting on the student loan policy, right? It's just saying what he's doing mechanically is adverse to the Supreme Court. They've already established that the mechanics of this, like that car is illegal. They say, well, we'll just put a coat of paint on it. You go, what? No, that's not what he meant. Like the engine's bad, like the wheels are bad, the driver's in it. Well, you just painted it, so it's a new car, so shove it, Supreme Court. You go, what? Okay. And they just keep trying it because they have to buy the votes, even though it is unconstitutional. So here is what the administration is saying about all this. They dragged out Kamala, and they put her in front of a camera. They gave her a piece of paper. They said, hey, can you just read this for once, for crying out loud?
And so today then, building on the work that we've done thus far, I'm announcing a new plan to forgive more loans for 25 million more Americans, including million public servants. And that means, for example, if you've paid undergrad loans for 20 plus years or graduate loans for 25 or more years, your loans will be completely forgiven, regardless of your income, and even if you did not graduate. So I'm going to repeat that. If you've paid undergraduate loans for more than 20 years or graduate loans for more than 25 years, those loans will be completely forgiven, regardless of your income, and even if you did not graduate. And forgiveness will be automatic for the vast majority of the 25 million people that we believe will benefit from this approach.
Yeah.
And to see if you could be eligible, I would urge everyone to go to
Somebody answer that phone.
studentaid.gov. That's studentaid.gov. And so.
All right, so nice job, Kamala. Read the statement. Doesn't seem like she was on the sauce this morning, so that's good. Regardless of your income, even if you did not graduate, it's just free money, man. Here you go. Here you go. Free money for everyone. Yeah, and it's not free money, right? It's going to be bundled up for the next generation, and they are just stealing that so that they can buy voters.
CBC.
It's corruption at
I don't think it works on this
level.
username.
Here's Joe. I want to make college tuition free, so you won't need money. We're cutting half the cost of
It'll work on the other one.
Joe says.
The desktop
I
stream.
also want to make, I'm pushing this, if I'm reelected, I'm going to push it hard.
Yeah, great.
Next time. I want to make community college tuition free. So you won't need loans at all.
Community college tuition free.
If we do this, the economic
Free.
gains will
It's not free.
outweigh the cost, and that's not hyperbole, that's true. This is in addition to the historic investments we're making to modernize our infrastructure.
There you go.
Roads, bridges, high-speed internet, clean water for every American. We need more qualified people doing this work.
Man, so he even kind of looks a little bit rough there. Anyway, so that's the president saying, more free education for everybody so that they can pump more kids into their liberal studies classes and indoctrinate them into their way of thinking. Miguel Cardona got asked about this, the legalities of this, saying, how will this student loan bailout pass legal muster when the first one didn't? Let's see what he says about it. But remember, part of what they're trying to do, it's a bait and switch, so it's dishonest to the people who, they promised a bunch of people student loans, and then suddenly they couldn't deliver on those student loans. Remember that? So, and that was like right around the midterms. So it's like they almost don't even care if the student loans gets overturned. They say to themselves, by the time this gets implemented, by the time we start telling these kids that we're waiving their student loans, they'll vote, or they'll be in the process of voting, with ballots, whatever. And if by the time somebody
hopefully see you guys in a bit.
by the time it reaches the Supreme Court, and we have our
Didn't make it in yesterday, so it may be a little bit madness.
Okay, the election.
Hopefully we'll be able to do a desktop stream.
They don't care necessarily.
If not, we'll probably do one later on at the factory.
They're just using it as
have a great day, all. Thanks for riding with me. Love you guys. Peace.